Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Community Awareness Program. As I said, we've got a full program today, and I want to make sure everybody please turn off your cell phones or silence them for me. And then also, when we do the question and answers, make sure you wait for the microphone to come to you because it is broadcast on Channel 97. So please make sure that you wait for the microphone. Thank you. I'm going to do a few announcements real quick before we get started with our program. Yes, February is officially American Heart Month. A time dedicated to raising awareness about cardiovascular health and preventing heart disease. First proclaimed in 1964, this annual observance encourages individuals to focus on their heart health by eating better, exercising, and understanding risks like high blood pressure and cholesterol. Why February? It is a national campaign to spotlight heart disease, which is leading cause of death in the United States. The key focus, the initiative encourages proactive steps like knowing your blood pressure, eating healthy, and reducing sedentary behavior to prevent the majority of heart-related diseases. Key events. The first Friday in February is typically celebrated as National Wear Red Day to raise awareness, particularly for women's heart health. During this month, organizations like the American Heart Association and the CDC encourage people to reclaim their rhythm and take charge in physical and mental well-being. So that's my little spiel on your heart health. The next one, as you can see, I have a heart, but it's actually for Valentine's, but I figured this would work anyway. I have some flyers in the back about the Blue Zones project, and we're having a workshop on February 26th from 1 to 2:30 p.m. in the Sun Lakes in our South Clubhouse. So space is limited. So if you want to RSVP to Ashley, it's on the bottom of this page here. So you want to go ahead and RSVP to her, not to me. If you RSVP to me, it's fine, I can let her know. But just go ahead and take one of these, please. And Banning Police Department is here. I'm so excited for them to be here. And they have some handouts. Oh, I think they're all gone, but you can have mine. Doug, you have yours too. Okay. So if anybody needs one, I have an extra one here. So right now, I am going to introduce Officer Armas and Officer Leal, and they're going to do a presentation for us. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Officer Armas. I've been working for the Banning Police Department for about 2 years.
I'm Officer Leal. I've been working for the Banning Police Department for about 2 years, and I have 6 years with Riverside County Sheriff's Department.
So this is going to be our stats from January 12th to, January 12th to January 31st. We've been just assigned the homeless liaison officers about approximately 3 weeks. So this is kind of what we've done. So far we have done 143 service calls, 85 arrests, and most of the arrests for the felony were 211 robberies, transients carrying a dirt and dagger, parole violations, probation violations. These are several violations for the felony arrests we committed. We did from January 12th to January 31st.
So out of all these arrests, so these are just the most common ones. There were more, but then the print was that it would get a lot smaller. So a lot of these arrests aren't necessarily calls for service that we get. A lot of times we get these on just proactive patrol. So a lot of times when we see an individual, whether it's at 300 South or just in an encampment somewhere, a lot of times we make contact with these individuals, and a lot of times we ended up arresting these individuals because of the felonies that they've committed or are committing at that very moment. And then the very next slide is to be just the misdemeanors, which is the most common ones from the misdemeanor section.
So again, as you can see, the same calls and same arrests. The arrests are for misdemeanor and felonies. As you can see, for most of the transients, it would be battery, vandalism. Some of them have paraphernalia, controlled substance, and most of them be trespassing on private property, shoplifting. Those are the most common crimes we'll be dealing with the transients in the city of Banning.
Apart from all these arrests, a lot of these individuals actually have a lot of bench warrants. So a lot of times we end up contacting them. We just, especially if they're loitering or trespassing, we kind of just have them leave the premises, because we are working a lot with code enforcement now, because it's actually a lot more difficult to arrest someone that's on private property, because technically we have no authority at that very moment unless the property owner calls. We actually do get a lot of calls saying, hey, my neighbor's house is vacant. I know that there's a whole bunch of homeless people in there, but unfortunately, unless it's the property owners or the property managers, unfortunately, we cannot go in there because we actually do not have permission to be in there at that very moment. So it does make it very difficult sometimes for us to do our job because we want to go in there and arrest people that aren't supposed to be there, because obviously if you have a house in the city of Banning, and let's say that you live in Los Angeles, even though it's vacant, obviously no one's supposed to be there. So not just because it's there, ready for someone to move in, these individuals should actually have access to go in there. They cause fires, they use drugs, have paraphernalia, they do all kinds of stuff. Most of the time they end up damaging the house so much that either it burns down or it just like you have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars just to pretty much just get it into a condition where you could actually resell it.
So like my partner was saying, we have been working with code enforcement, but we've been working with other agencies. We've been working with Parks and Recreation, Public Works, Riverside University Health System, Faith in Actions, Caltrans, California Highway Patrol, and Union Pacific. We've been contacting these agencies, and they've been helping us clean out Banning.
So in the 3 weeks that we've been in this position, we've done a few cleanups, but I guess the agency, or they're part of Banning Police, but the people that actually do a lot of the work for us, that get unnoticed, is code enforcement. So code enforcement is actually working on who owns exactly what property, whether it's city, whether it's private, who owns it. Do they give us permission to go there without them being present there to arrest people? Because a lot of times, all these private properties, a lot of times all the information on there is pretty much it's expired or it's information that's very old. So by the time that we try to contact the property owners, we're unable to reach anyone. So right now they're on the process of sending certified letters just so that way they're responsible, because what ends up happening if there's a whole bunch of encampment on their property, they're actually in charge of doing the cleanup instead of the city, because if the city does it, not only is it your tax dollars at work, which shouldn't be going towards that, it should be the private property owner's responsibility. So we can enforce the arrest, but unfortunately for the cleanup, they actually have to hire their own people. When it comes to like Parks and Rec, they help us anytime someone's sleeping in the park and stuff like that. Anytime they have encampments, we'll go and talk to them. We've talked to these individuals plenty of times, so much now that it just, whenever we actually see them, now we just end up arresting them, because we've already had these talks with them as far as, hey, we can get you help. Hey, we can get you into rehab. Hey, we have certain church organizations that can help you get clean, temporary housing, either long-term or short-term, as far as with the little pods that were over there by the police station. They actually closed about 3 weeks ago. So unfortunately, right now, there's no shelters here. So a lot of times we actually give them the option, hey, if you want to go to a different city, we can relocate you. I have a pickup truck, as much stuff as my truck can fit, or we even have a trailer now. We can take you somewhere else, because a lot of these individuals end up getting arrested in different cities. They get brought to the Banning police, or to the police, or to the Banning jail. And when I used to work for the sheriff's department, it was our responsibility at the jail to transport them to the closest jail. So if they live in Corona, we would have to transport them to Riverside Jail. They get released there. But what the jail is doing now is they're giving them taxi vouchers or bus vouchers. So meaning they'll drop them off at the courthouse, and they'll say, hey, here's your bus ticket. You can go to whatever city that you're from. But what ends up happening is they stay here. So a lot of times when we contact these individuals, we ask them, hey, how are you here? Oh, well, I got arrested and they released me here. Do you want to go back to your city? No, I like it here. Well, unfortunately, it's our job to make sure that either that they're not committing crimes, that they're not trespassing, loitering, any of that. And I've told these individuals, I'm like, unfortunately, you're going to be seeing us a lot. And is it come to the point that you're going to just get arrested if you're committing a crime? It's not a crime to be homeless, but unfortunately, it's not very many that we encounter that are never breaking the law. I mean, we might have maybe a handful that are they're always just walking, and the rest of them are always doing something that they're not supposed to. As far as University Health System, we have a mental health clinician that normally is with us either like on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. So we go out there, we talk to the individuals to see if they want any kind of help. I would say 9 times out of 10, they say, no, we're good, just leave us alone. One time out of 10, they'll say yes, but then whenever we start doing follow-ups, hey, we talked to you last week, just meet us here, it's a no-show. So a lot of these individuals, I can't say every single time, but I would say most of the time, they do not want help because the reason that they live in the street is because they chose it. They don't like to follow instructions, rules. They don't like to do any of that stuff. So that's the reason they chose to actually live in the street. Faith in Action, we're having a meeting with them soon as far as what exact resource they can provide for us, just for these individuals that actually do want help. Caltrans, when it comes to Caltrans, so it's pretty much just anytime they set up encampments along the freeway, according to them, if it's within 25 feet towards the train tracks, that's something that they can help us out with as far as cleanups. So they would actually be doing the cleanups, but it would actually be us that would be doing all the enforcement as far as the rest. California Highway Patrol is pretty much anything along the freeway on the inside. So they said same thing, anything on the inside. We would actually make the rest, but then they would just enforce it. And then Union Pacific is pretty much anything on the train tracks, because a lot of times what ends up happening, there's a lot of trains that get stuck, or for whatever reason they just stop, and then there's a lot of theft that happens whenever that happens. So right now we're working with them because with them they actually have one officer for like 300 miles. So anytime that happens, it's our responsibility to make sure that no theft happens or anything like that. And then at the same time, there are a lot of homeless individuals that are either under the influence or get intoxicated. They end up sleeping on the train tracks, and they end up getting hit.
So we actually have done some cleanups around the city. So these are the streets where we have done cleanups. We've done a Joshua Palmer, West Ramsey, East Williams. So these are some of the streets. I will show you photos of how they looked before. So as my partner said, some of them, instead of just having a tent, they leave trash everywhere. It looks bad for the city. It looks bad for the property owner. And it's a lot of not just trash, but also hazard materials, syringes, drugs, feces all over the area. And it's just not clean for the city and for anybody walking around the area.
So this was actually 3 weeks ago. A lot of times what ends up happening, we get with code enforcement. Code enforcement finds out who the property owner is. They notify them, hey, it's your responsibility to make sure that all this stuff gets cleaned up. We can be there. If you want people arrested, we can arrest them. We've told these individuals for countless weeks to leave. And then here, pretty much, by the time that we got there, everyone was pretty much already just kind of leaving at that point. So this was kind of like their first warning. On this cleanup, we just kind of told everyone, because it's the same 50 to 60 individuals all the time that we see from place to place. We kick them out of here, they end up going over there. So we've been giving them plenty of breaks, and we've told them, hey, we're not going to be playing ping pong with you guys. You guys are going to go from one vacant lot to another vacant lot, because eventually you guys will never understand what it is to pretty much pay someone to clean it, or clean it yourself, or obviously taxpayers. So the city of Banning doesn't want to see this whenever they're going to a restaurant, or whenever they're walking their kids or grandkids, whatever it may be. So this is a before, and then this was the after the cleanup.
So this was the one behind Walgreens. They had a big open field. Same thing, trash everywhere. We had about 3 or 4 transients that were sleeping in tents. We gave them warnings that you can't really see, but on the tree posted a sign giving them several days to clean up. So when we arrived, obviously they didn't, so we still had to clean up for that whole area right there. So if you click on the page, so you can see the big difference. Everything's green, everything's nice. So that's our main priority, is making sure areas stay clean and having them coming back and ruining the area again. Again, so this will be on Florida and John Street, just south of the railroad tracks. So there were several encampments, several transients that were located in that area. Again, we posted signs all over along the fence, letting them know that if if they don't clean them up after a certain day, was it 72 hours? Yeah, we give them 72 hours, but actually we give them extra days. 5 days to clean up and then move out of the location. So when we arrived the next day, after 72 hours, they were still there, and we arrested about 9 people for trespassing.
Actually, it still looks like that. It still looks like that because we make sure that we just go there on a daily basis, just because, just like I said, it's tiring whenever, and we don't mind doing the cleaning ourselves. Like, if our department let us just do the cleaning, we would, but unfortunately, a lot of times we get a lot of calls for service. There's someone that's intoxicated that's refusing to leave this business, so a lot of times we have to tend to the calls for service. We don't have time just to be cleaning. So that's why code enforcement is finding out who the property owner is. Like for this one, it was actually the city because it is city property, just because it was a little bit too far south from the train tracks. Otherwise, it would have been Caltrans. So a lot of times, like for us, we try to make sure that we talk to the individuals, we give them plenty of chances, but there comes a time that we just get tired of having the exact same speech over and over and over again. And I've told them, I'm like, hey, like next time I see you, I'm gonna just arrest you if you're trespassing, because I've already given you plenty of chances. I've told you guys aren't supposed to be having shopping carts, because you guys end up just ruining shopping carts anywhere between $200 to $300. So I'm like, that in itself is a misdemeanor offense. I could arrest you, but I'm like, but I've given you plenty of chances. I'm like, this is gonna be your last warning. I tell these individuals, we're not here to arrest you guys. We're just here to give you information. But unfortunately, we can only have these talks so many times. It's the way that I look at it. It's like talking to one of my kids. I'm like, I gave you so many chances, and then so by the time that we come over here and we have to talk to you again, it's nothing that you shouldn't be expecting already, because I already told you plenty of times, hey, don't be doing that, please take off, don't have a shopping cart next time I see you, and then they keep on doing it every single time. So those are just some of the cleanups that we've done. We're actually going to be doing one next Tuesday. It's more on the east side by Hargrave, so it's Hathaway and Ramsey. There's a big vacant lot. There's multiple motorhomes. There's multiple transients that say, hey, I know the owner. That's what we get all the time. Hey, I know the owner. They gave me permission. Okay, what's their phone number? Oh, I can't find it. I don't know the person's name. We're going to be doing, after the one that we do on Ramsey and Hathaway, we're going to be doing one right here just east of Sun Lakes, which is like Sunset. It's like a whole city down there. It's pretty bad. We already got with code enforcement. Code enforcement is actually, they're in the process of getting private person's arrest form signed from the property owner to have everyone that's there arrested, because I would say there's a total of anywhere between 20 to 30 individuals and about 10 to 20 dogs. So we contacted many individuals last week. One of them actually ran away from me. So we just got them right before we got here. We worked with Gang Task Force, and they picked them up. But it's just a matter of it's a work in progress. So it's either going to be one of us working on a daily basis or both of us. So we both work. We're both passionate with what we do. We don't do it, like I said, we don't do it to arrest people. We do it to try to clean up the city, because to me, it doesn't really make a difference if I arrest 1,000 people. I want the city clean. To me, we're not driven by statistics of, oh, you know what, I got 1,000 arrests for the year. That doesn't matter. If the city still looks, trashy, just dirty, then we haven't done our job. So our job is to make it really uncomfortable for these individuals to be here in the city if they're going to continue doing what they're doing. So we can only offer them so many resources, so many chances, but eventually, and I've even told them, I'm like, hey, if you're not from the city, if I end up arresting you, I'm gonna take you to Riverside. I'm gonna take you to Marietta. I'm gonna take you to India. I'm gonna take you to Blythe. It's just like we're gonna make it really uncomfortable for these individuals, especially when they don't even live here. Because I tell the individuals that have grown up here, I'm like, if all you know is Banning, okay, that's one thing. But if you come from a different city, Los Angeles, Riverside, San Diego, I'm like, what are you doing here? I'm like, you're here because you found a little spot that might be comfortable for now, but once we find out who the owner of that property is, I'm like, we're gonna kick you out and you're gonna be arrested, and whatever else that we find there. So I mean, that, like I said, we've only been doing it for 3 weeks, and it's just like it's a work in progress. I don't know how it was before. Both of us just work night shift patrol, so it just calls for service is a little bit different than having this position because we constantly have to just go out there and just kind of see what's going on. We take a lot of pictures. We send them to code enforcement. Hey, go find this out. Find out who the property owner is. Hey, there's trailers, there's transients, there's dogs, there's all kinds of stuff. And it's to me, like, I don't live in the city of Banning, but I treat it like if I lived here, this is exactly what I would want. Like if I wouldn't feel comfortable walking with my 5-year-old son or my 9-year-old daughter down the street with the whole bunch of transients, with dogs and strollers and all kinds of stuff, I'm like, and I have these talks with these individuals. I'm like, hey, how would you like it if you had a son and you had to walk and you have 20 transients there with dogs and stuff like that? Most of them pit bulls or big dogs that if they'd bite you, obviously it'd be a pretty big injury. And a lot of them get it, but then at the same time, a lot of these individuals are kind of just stuck in their ways. So I don't know if you want to add anything else.
No. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Go ahead, man.
I was wondering, because I've never been to jail, what happened when you say you arrest them? Is it for one day, for one night? Because they get a good bed and a good meal. It's not so bad, it looks like. So I don't know. Can you please tell us? Thank you.
So in the past, when people have been arrested, so a lot of times they have misdemeanor warrants. So a misdemeanor warrant is just something that normally whenever you get sent to the jail or whenever you get transported to the jail, they pretty much take new pictures of you, fingerprints, and they pretty much process you. You normally get out anywhere between 6 to 12 hours. So that's how it works. But a lot of times they're expected because a lot of times, like we were short-staffed for a little bit. So a lot of times we're like, hey, we're not going to get stuck at the jail. I'm not going to go transport them to the jail because what if something critical comes out and now we're stuck at the jail for anywhere between 45 minutes to 2 hours sometimes, depending how busy, because the Banning jail services us, Beaumont, Cabazon, Indio, Cathedral City, Palm Springs, Desert Hot Springs. So pretty much all these areas end up taking all their bookings there. So sometimes it can take up to 3-4 hours if there's, sometimes even Hemet comes over here with 10 or 15 people that they're arrested for trespassing. So a lot of times so we would just kind of try to weigh out, the benefits. Do we take them to jail and inconvenience them? Or do we just give them a citation knowing that they're not really going to do anything? So now, the reason that we take them to jail every single time is to inconvenience them, because a lot of times when we do arrest people, they say, hey, are you going to write me a citation? I'm like, no, I'm not going to write you a citation. Why not? That's what they've always done. I'm like, well, yeah, exactly, because you guys expect it. I'm like, because you're inconveniencing me to do all this paperwork. I'm like, I'm going to take you to jail and inconvenience you. And then, unfortunately, it's only like, most of the time it's 6 to 12 hours. Unless it's a felony, then at that point they have to wait to see the judge, and then they're going to be there for at least a few days until they see the judge, and then from there, they could be out in a few days or they could be out in a few weeks, or depending what the crime was.
Joanne,
My question is
please talk to the mic.
Is there very many homeless people that come into Sun Lakes? Do you have any statistics on that? Are the crimes in Sun Lakes?
As far as crime lakes, the only ones that I've seen, it was either 6 or 7 of them. I know from working in the department, I've only actually had one incident that I was a part of. Someone actually came in. It was more towards. Actually, no, I'm sorry. It wasn't Sun Lakes. It was a community next door, or actually down the street. Yeah, Four Seasons. So someone went in there. They ended up just breaking in, and then as soon as we got there, they pretty much left. So a lot of times, so we are actually, me and my partner, we're trying to get with the city to see if we can get some sort of grant for like a drone, stuff like that. Just because a lot of these homeless individuals, if they were to commit any crime, they go straight to the East Lotto right there. And then they know all that wash area very well, which is why the individual that took off from me, he knew all the zigzags and he pretty much lost me. But like I said, we were able to find them, but if we had a drone where we can just have something up top, then we can have a better visual. That way, if something like that were to happen, it's a lot easier to catch these people. But as far as to my knowledge, it's like a handful of times as far as things that have happened at Sun Lakes.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Thank you, officers. Thank you for all the information. Okay, now we have Mike Romero from Securitas.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mike Romero. I'm your Director of Security here at Sun Lakes, and with me is Lieutenant Roman. Real brief, I just want to chime in with what the officers said. Sun Lakes has been recently seeing some upticks in trespassing. On the plus part is that we do have a lot of residents observing and quickly reporting these incidents to our department. So we've been very successful in either stopping these individuals as it happens, or at some point even making contact with these individuals as they tend to hide in grassy areas in our golf courses. With the success of the program that we've been running, we have been given the opportunity to work hand in hand with Banning PD, and during our graveyard hours, we do see immediate response from them. Most recently, we did have an issue in the northern side where 2 individuals were actually apprehended by Banning PD due to the quick response of our department and the residents that are reporting that. So kudos to the residents on doing so. We are working hand in hand, so we really appreciate that. So I'm just going to go off of that. Recently, Sun Lakes has experienced an uptick in trespassing activity on the northern side of the community and also by Highland Springs Drive. In several of these instances, residents observed suspicious individuals and did the right thing by promptly reporting them. Because of that quick communication, security was able to respond immediately and remove those individuals from our community. Our team's been proactive in addressing these situations. Officers have increased patrol presence in the affected areas, responded quickly to calls for service, and when necessary, coordinated with Banning PD to ensure trespassers were removed either voluntarily or through enforcement. The coordinated effort has been effective, and we will continue to take these matters seriously. Just as important, this is a strong example of how security and residents can work best together. When residents remain observant and report suspicious activity as soon as it's seen, it allows us to act quickly to prevent further issues. So we continue and we wish to encourage everyone to continue reporting anything out of the ordinary and to avoid confronting individuals directly. Your safety is priority. Never approach these individuals. We never know if they may be under the influence of something or if they may have any or brandishing any weapons on them. So your safety will be priority. From a distance, report it, we will respond, and if we need to, get back up through Banning PD enforcement. We want to keep the community as safe as possible. So any nightly strolls that you folks are taking, highlighted vest, something with light, a walking stick, or a dog, take it with you. Stay prepared and just be ready to have your phones with you and call us in case you do spot anything suspicious. Another area of concern that we want to bring up to everyone's attention is piggybacking at our entry points. We have seen an increase in these incidents through our CCTV monitoring and reports from concerned residents. Piggybackers are individuals who attempt to gain access to the community without checking in with our gate officers, often by following closely behind the resident vehicle. Security actively monitors for this behavior and responds when it is observed or reported. However, resident participation is crucial in preventing these situations. We ask residents to remain alert at the gates and to report any vehicle that's parked along the side of any entry point or attempts to follow them into the community without proper authorization. If a vehicle does not have an RFID tag or an SLCC decal, residents should not allow it to enter through the resident lanes. Please approach the gate slowly, allow your vehicle to clear the gate arm, and wait for the arm to fully lower before proceeding. If piggybacking is suspected, contact security immediately with the vehicle description, license plate number, and location. This allows patrol to locate the vehicle quickly and escort it to the main gate for proper processing. A lot of these piggybackers are potentially your own guests that are not checking in at the gates. We have no problem letting your guests in as long as they're called in and they're checking in with us accordingly. We are seeing contractors also attempting to gain the community through the resident gates. By doing so, they are going to cause some property damage, which is what we're trying to prevent as well. We have brand new gate arms that just got installed with those nice fancy LED lights. The last thing we need is to replace them again. So please remind your guests to use the main gate for entry or any of our man gates, and we'll make sure to get your guests or contractors in without any issues. Lastly, I just want to remind residents that the security line is intended specifically for security-related assistance. This includes reporting suspicious individuals or observable violations, requesting an officer response, or calling someone into the community. We do ask that residents refrain from contact security for non-security matters such as electrical issues or plumbing concerns inside your home. While our team is always willing to help, and we can, by keeping our phone lines clear, allows patrol officers to remain in the field and respond quickly to situations that require immediate attention. When calling security, please try to have all pertinent details available so an officer can be dispatched effectively. We also ask that residents avoid lengthy or unrelated conversations on our security line, as this can delay our ability to receive and respond to other urgent calls. We would love to hear about your vacation last summer and how awesome your holidays was with your family, but we try to keep our lines clear as much as possible. 30-second minimum is what we'd like to do. You guys call us, we'll ask you for your address, your security code, and who's going to be on your guest list so that we can get them in as soon as possible. So if you feel the need to come and talk to us, you can come up to our station. We're readily available to hear you out for any of your concerns or any issues, or just to stop by and say hi. We love to get to know our residents. This is what we're here to do. The more that you guys get to know my security team, the more we can express how we feel about being here, because we're here to provide that service as best as we can for our community. And with that, it is my time. Do I have any questions?
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Carly.
Carly Beeks. Yes. I understand that the contractors, gardeners, and housekeepers, they fill out a form and they pay for a transponder, and that allows them to enter through the resident gate. My concern is that once they have that access, we do not know who's home or where they're going or how long they'll be there. This seems to create a community, a security gap. Can you explain what safeguards are in place to prevent misuse of our transponders and a policy that can be reviewed to improve our residents' safety?
That is a great question, Carly. So contractors and vendors, if they do happen to get a transponder assigned here at Sun Lakes, they do have to meet with the requirements to get approved for that said transponder. That being said, they do have to comply with the same regulations like any other contractor does, which means they have to stop work between 5:30. After 5:30, there's no more contractor work. Contractors are not allowed on Sundays here in Sun Lakes as well. We want everybody to enjoy their peace and quiet as much as possible. They are entitled to that. So the transponders would be deactivated after the 5:30 mark, and they will not be activated on Sundays, which prevents them from coming in to continue doing business. Another thing is, if they do have the transponder, Dwelling Live keeps track of their entry. And by doing so, we can monitor to see if these contractors are actually violating policy, and we can call them out on that and have planning and compliance work with us to deactivate that transponder. In a sense, we'll let the contractor know that they're no longer going to be allowed to come into Sun Lake so they continue that violation. So slowly but surely, we're going through all the little check marks to make sure that the violations that the contractors are doing here at Sun Lakes cease and desist from happening again. So. No, if they do have a transponder, they're not checking in at my gate. They're either using the resident gates or using the resident lanes to come in, and they are being registered through Dwelling Live, but they're not being given an actual pass to come in from us. So,
My question is, I've never seen any statistics about crime in Sun Lakes. Is there any reason why we don't do that?
so I do generate statistics based on my incident reports that my team generates on a monthly basis, and actually those numbers you can see on Sun Lake's website. So if you were to log in there, you can see the incident reports that my team is generating. We try to keep them to the severe incident report category that was requested by the board, such as trespassing, confrontations, anything that's a major category will be listed on there. Now, the statistics in terms of rise in crime doesn't necessarily impact here at Sun Lakes. What the officers were referring to is in banning in general. So kudos to the residents and my department for trying to keep these numbers low. We're trying to respond effectively and immediately on any call that happens to come through our way. Suspicious activity is something that we do see here at Sun Lakes, I'm not gonna lie. Recently, we've had suspicious activity. We've had a uptick in trespassing. And theft occurrences have happened, but it was expected for the month of November and December and early January. But that doesn't mean that the numbers are not going to go down or go back up. So what we want to do is we do want to keep track of every incident, and we're going to document, and then statistics will be displayed for the community every single month for you guys to see what's happening around Sun Lakes, what we're doing to prevent these things from happening. I can tell you we've had at least 3 trespassing notices that were brought up to our attention that we responded to, with the recent one being a successful arrest. So we are doing our best to prevent these guys from coming into Sun Lakes, as well as us interacting with these individuals that we do make contact with. We'll do the same thing that Manning PD does. I will inconvenience them to prevent them from coming back to Sun Lakes. The only difference is I'm not holding them in a cell for 12 to 14 hours. I am giving them a rough time, to say the least. And that's one of the things that kind of impacts in their mental, where saying, you know, I don't want to deal with Mike or Lieutenant Roman ever again, because those guys are just, they're serious about what they're doing. But rest assured, our department is actively doing what we can to prevent crime, to prevent trespassers or suspicious activity from happening. And of course, it all goes with the aid of the residents reporting these things to us in a timely fashion. If you don't report it right away and you call me 2 weeks later to let me know there was a suspicious individual, I can't do anything about that, unfortunately. Call us the moment that you see it. We will respond accordingly for you guys.
I noticed, it seemed to me that in the past there were more security cars, you know, going around the area, but I rarely ever see any security driving around anymore.
So we have one patrol for our community. The patrol routine is something that I don't really want to share out in public, because we want to make sure that our services are not countered by somebody that might be monitoring security activity here at Sun Lakes. We do have people that even reside here at Sun Lakes that might be suspicious, but we don't want to say that they are. So by doing so, our patrol is actively out in the community. They may not be in certain areas for a long time, but I assure you, through GPS location, reporting as well, we're keeping track of every location that these our patrol officers are at. They're spending a lot of time in the RV lot, the maintenance yard, around and outside Sun Lakes. So if you don't see them often inside the community, they will be outside of the perimeter, checking those areas that are poorly lit, checking our gate entrances, pedestrian gates. We want to make sure that we're securing the property as much as possible. Interior calls, such as, you know, when we have somebody that's having an argument or your neighbor disputes, we will respond to that. It just won't be immediate. We will get to those calls as soon as we can. Having one patrol, though, we are able to still be proactive with that. Myself and Lieutenant Roman are frequently out on the road during the daytime in our swing shift. During our graveyard hours, we have one person in our office who's constantly monitoring the CCTV, and they're working hand in hand with patrol. And they're making those calls. Hey, there's somebody in the RV lot that I just saw jump the wall. Patrol drops what they're doing and immediately goes out to that call. Because with us having one patrol, I don't see us having any issues with the community awareness and us patrolling the community when we're doing our watch patrols. So if it is a concern, folks are more than welcome to discuss this with the board, but we will continue doing what we can, because we see it as a feasible way of continuing our approach and protecting the community. So. Yes.
I have a vehicle question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any regulation about loud muffler noise?
That is, we do have a noise ordinance, and it's just not here in Sun Lakes. It is in the city of Banning as well. So any noise issues that happen after a certain time, we can respond to, as well as Banning PD. But as far as a vehicle having a loud exhaust, not much enforcement in our side. I can't really do much about that,
He also
unfortunately.
speeds as the sports
So
car is.
speeding could be something that you can bring to our attention. Again, all the details. We had one issue recently where a resident was very thorough. She took her phone out, started recording the whole issue of this individual speeding through the community. And not even stopping at the stop signs. Because of that effort, we were able to attach those images into our incident report, and then those individuals were held accountable. So I know it's dangerous when you're out and you're driving and you don't want to be on your phone while you're behind the wheel. whatever you can provide, maybe just mental, hey, first 5 of the license plate or first 3, it's a white Toyota Corolla. Can you see if this vehicle's coming out through the community at the time? We can pull up data as it happens. Any vehicles that are coming in and out of the community, we're aware of. So if anybody's speeding around the community and you see them coming towards our gates, call us. We'll see what we can do for you on that point, okay?
Okay, we're not going to take any more questions because we've got to get on with the rest of our program. If you have any questions, please call Michael. He's given his phone number out several times. You might want to give it out one more time.
Sure. I'm also going to provide my email real quick, but in case you do need to get in touch with me, I am accessible to you guys 24 hours. The phone number that I can be reached at is 909-679-7622, and my email is my first name, Michael, M-I-C-H-A-E-L, period, Romero, R-O-M-E-R-O, at securitasinc.com. I'm available for you guys whenever you want. You can reach me via email, through my cell phone, through our office lines. I will get back to you as soon as possible, especially if you have any issues with the community or my staff, okay? The phone number is 909-679-7622. Now, remember, folks, that is my cell phone. That is not my office dispatch number, so if you need security, call the security line. But you can call me if there's any issues or concerns that you feel I need to be attentive to immediately, and we will respond for you, okay? Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, David, do you want to be next? All right, so this is David Laratales, and he is from Supervisor Gutierrez's office, and he's going to introduce his guests.
Hello there. First of all, I just want to give a shout out to Michelle. She does a great job here on these community awareness, and it's a real honor for us to be here. This is we're actually in our 4th year in office, Supervisor Gutierrez. We've completed 3 years, and in those 3 years, we've accomplished quite a bit. In District 5, there's 11 programs that are unique to District 5, and they're not fluff. They are very meaty programs that are really, really helping the residents. 3 of them are related to hiring. We have Hire District 5, which incentivizes local businesses to hire local residents. It isn't just supervisor saying, I would like to see this. There's a financial incentive for the employer and for the employee. So that's Hire District 5. We also have Hire a Senior specifically, because supervisor realized that there are many seniors who are trying to supplement either their retirement or their Social Security and are looking for part-time work and maybe are not getting the interviews that they would normally get. There's an incentive we have a number of employers that have incentives to hire seniors within District 5. And the other one that I'm very proud of is Hire a Vet. We also have Hire a Vet. You can't do all 3, because I would qualify for all 3. But no, you can only take advantage of one of them. But it is really, really, it's something that Supervisor was mayor of Moreno Valley for 7 years, and I don't know if you folks know, but we call Moreno Valley MoVal, and so he had the program called Hire MoVal, and when he came into supervisor here, it was so successful there that he brought it over here. The other program that I did a presentation on here with Michelle. Michelle invited me to do, and that was the, senior moment. That is, where was I going with that? The tech support. How many, okay, thank you for bailing me out there. That was a good one. How many of you have taken advantage of Tech on Wheels that comes here and does technical? Oh, okay. Yeah, great. So has it been helpful to you? Yeah, what Tech on Wheels is, and that's one of the programs unique to District 5. It's only available in District 5. We have those 2 large vans that you may have seen here. They come here and they do technical support for your laptops, for your iPhones, even for your Android phones. A lot of people don't do that, but they have it for Android. You can sort your email or be safe on the internet, how to be able to navigate safely, make purchases safely. I know many people are concerned about that. And yes, we also did a health and wellness fair here. Last year, I believe. Yeah, we had about 25 vendors here that we did a health and wellness fair as well. Supervisor really wanted to be here today. Unfortunately, he never is able to make these because Tuesday is board day. We call it board day. That's when he's doing the work. That's when he's funding all these programs to help the residents. But he's very committed to this community. He admires this community a great deal. One of the things that I wanted to bring up was that your foundation, and that you do so many donations, and one of them is the Beaumont Senior Center, or the Banning Senior Center. And I know that you folks have such wonderful facilities here. I don't think very many of you are using the Banning Senior Center, but you are helping support that, and that's wonderful. And we just admire this community so much. We're so happy to be here. And so today we're going to do a presentation on cybersecurity, on ID theft and scams. And one thing that I definitely want to tell you is that I went to a press conference for the Attorney General of the state of California. The Attorney General of the state of California. Michael knows who I'm talking about. And he's the highest law enforcement in California. He was doing a press conference about scams and ID theft. And he said that his mother had received a phone call and a scam. So one of the reporters asked him, did she lose money? And his whole body language changed, and he just nodded his head and said yes, and went on to the next question. He didn't want to go any further. But I just want to tell you that don't be embarrassed. If you have any question, just like you used to tell your kids, don't talk to strangers, you know? Don't talk to strangers. Maureen Dumichel used to talk about that she says that now she's telling her mother what her mother used to tell her. But we want you to be safe. We want you to be able to use the technology, but know how to be safe with it, and know what scams are out there, because there are so many. And unfortunately, they target people with hair my color. You know, we are the targets very often. So I have two presenters for you today. The first one is from Altura Credit Union, the head of security for Altura Credit Union. And I'm very glad that he's here today. And the reason I reached out to Altura, there are many people who could speak on this. Altura is very involved in the community. I have always noticed that. I have always seen them at events. I have seen them supporting our community, and they don't try to sell you, which I really love. They come here and they're trying to inform you, and they have some wonderful information. So with that, I bring up Chris Wadoyak. I think I got that right, right? Wadoyak? Thank you, Chris.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, David. I'm going to set up my laptop real quick. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chris Wadoyak. I am the Director of Information Security for Altura Credit Union. I've been there about 4 years. Been in IT about 30 years. Before I worked for Altura, I worked for Aerospace and Defense, 2-6. So we had 4 secret rooms across the United States, so it was my responsibility to make sure government secrets stayed secret and didn't get out. So today I want to talk to you about cyber and fraud awareness. And then we'll go into a little bit more on the fraud side, on the banking and the financial side. So the first thing I want to talk about is password security. So longer is always better. So the longer your password is, the better secure your account is. A 6-character password I can hack in about 5 minutes. You get into 16, 17-character password, it takes me maybe an hour or two. You add uppercase, lowercase, things like that, now you're talking years for me to hack. You want to make sure they're unique. You don't want to use the same password for Netflix, Amazon, your banking, because all I got to do is hack one password, and I have access to all those. I know it can get complicated with all these different passwords you're going to have. I have over 400 that I have to be responsible for. That's both personal and through work. Like I said, complex, so uppercase, lowercase, special characters, you know, A, use the @ sign, S, $sign, things like that. I also suggest using a phrase. So instead of making your password like pencil or something like that, your dog's name and your birthday, make it a phrase. Every year we spend time at the beach swimming. So the password at the bottom. Every year we spend time at the beach swimming, add some special characters in there. Now you have a complex password that isn't in a dictionary to do a dictionary attack on your password. And it'll take me, I think it's like 4 billion years to try and hack that password. By that time, your password will be reset to something else and I have to start all over. So that's one thing to, you know, for password security is a complex password and use a phrase. The other thing you can do is use a password manager. I use a password manager because I have so many. You know, I don't have that little notepad to write them all down. It stores your password. It alerts you of duplicate passwords. So if you have one password in for one account, when you go to type in a new one, it says, hey, you've already used this password. Do you want to reuse it or do you want to come up with something different? It'll also generate strong passwords for you. So you can say, I want a 16, a 20, 25, 30-character password, complex, and it'll generate it, and then it'll put it in for your account. So you only have to memorize one master password for your password manager, and then it will remember all the other ones. So wouldn't that be great, just one long password instead of like 50 long passwords? So try and look for a password manager. There's several out there. You're welcome to come up to me after. I'll tell you which one I use. I don't try and promote any of them. But I have used a couple and I've pretty much settled on one and I've been happy with it. It does do autofill. So you're going to your Amazon or your Netflix and it says, hey, you know, you log into your password manager and it will say, okay, I'm at Netflix. It'll put in the username and it'll put in the password for you. The neat thing about the password manager is if you click get a phishing attempt and you click on a link that you think you're going to a legit site, most of those are it's a play on the domain. So like Altura Credit Union, I've seen one where it's Alturi with an E instead of an A. Well, your password manager is not going to recognize that, so it's not going to put in your password for the credit union or for Netflix. So like Netflix is netflix.com, but let's say, oh, I'm going to Netflix, and it sends you to netflix.org. Well, it's not going to, it knows that that's not Netflix. So the password manager will help you from going to those malicious sites. Yeah. Does anybody know what multi-factor authentication is? I am impressed. I am very well impressed. I use Altura a lot. We have over 200,000 members. We have 150,000 of them on online banking. We only have 3,500 of them that use multi-factor authentication. So for those of you that don't know, multi-factor authentication is you have your username and password, which is something you know, and then something you have. You have that text message that comes in with that 6-digit code. You have that authenticator app that rotates every minute with a new number. I can have your username and password. I can have a website up, a fake website up in 5 minutes, convince you to go to that website to type in your username and password. I've just harvested your credentials, but I don't have that 6-digit code. So I can't get in to whatever account that I'm pretending to be. Another thing you always see, banks, most places, will never ask you for that 6-digit code. There's a scam going around. I get your username and password. And, I have to go in and log in and I get the code. Well, at the same time I'm logging in, I'm calling you on the phone. Hey, I'm from tech support. We noticed a problem with your account. I need to verify who you are. I'm going to send you a 6-digit code. Can you read that back to me? That way I know you're you and me and I'm me. Well, I'm logging in on your account on the back end. You have multi-factor set up. You just give that guy 6-digit code you think you're telling him to confirm who you are? No, now he just got that 6-digit code and now he's in your account. Never give out your 6-digit code for whatever reason. Someone calls you up, hang up the phone, call the bank on the back of your credit card. And we'll get into that on a couple more slides. So it also does, like I said, the Authenticator app, that 6-digit code that rotates, that's the best thing to have. As a hacker, I can intercept that text message, that email. Those are all sent unencrypted. So I can be sitting there doing a man in the middle, grab your 6-digit code from you. But that Authenticator app is on your phone. I don't have access to your phone. So that's the most secure. Most companies do the Authenticator app. If not, at least you have that text message or that email coming in. Take advantage of MFA. I know it can be a little bit troublesome and, oh man, I got to type in, I got to wait for it. It will save you in the long run. All my accounts that offer MFA, I have it enabled. Just about all your major players with accounts, Netflix, Amazon, they all offer MFA. Take advantage of it. Some of the other things you see is like biometrics. iPhones have facial recognition. Android has the thumbprint. Take advantage of those. That's another form of MFA. Some other things to do, recognizing and reporting a phishing email. I know most of you guys have like Gmail or Yahoo or Hotmail and stuff like that. They do a fairly good job of stopping that, but they're not going to stop it 100%. Some of the things to look for in phishing is a sense of urgency. Are they going to make you scared? Your power is going to get turned off. You're going to lose, your electricity, things like that. They're going to try and scare you to get you to click on something in that email. Most likely it'll be to install something on your computer. And then they've gotten into your computer, they can do ransomware, they can lock your computer up, encrypt it, and now you got to spend money to get your data, or you're totally wiping your computer and starting from fresh. You'll see a lot of times the sender's email address doesn't match the company that it's coming from. Like I see a lot, it's from Microsoft. Oh, Microsoft, you need to update your password or da-da-da-da. But if you look at it, it's from MicrosoftProtectionServices.com. Well, that's not Microsoft. That's somebody pretending to be Microsoft. So look at the domain name of where the emails are coming from. Unexpected communications that you weren't expecting. If you're not expecting an email from Amazon that your package is going to be late, or you're not going to get it unless you update your address or update your payment industry or your information, you're not expecting that. Be suspicious. There's nothing against being suspicious about every email that comes in. Anybody that's asking you to send your personal information, be suspicious. The banks, we're not going to ask you for your personal information. I already know your social security number. It's in the system when you signed up for it. I already know where you live. The bad guys don't. That's why they're asking you for this personal information. So be susceptible or suspicious of anybody sending you asking for your personal information. You don't see it as much nowadays, misspelled words. ChatGPT, Gemini, Gronk, those all pretty much killed the misgrammar, because most of these guys are in third world countries, and their English is their second language. Well, now they can go ChatGPT and say, write me a phishing email about somebody's electricity being turned off and they need to hurry up and, log into this. And ChatGPT will spit it out in minutes. So it's not really an indicator of phishing email. Grammar is going to be great. But it's the other things, the domains, the links, the sense of urgency. They're asking for personal information. Here's one that came in from Amazon. Your Amazon account has been put on hold, therefore pending any orders and subscriptions will be temporarily on hold. They want you to please update your information as soon as possible. They want you to click on the link. Don't click on the link. Open a new browser, go to Amazon, check to see what's the status of your account. The other thing is that we see a lot, you know, I have multiple email accounts. You know, I have work, I have personal, I game, so I have a gaming one for when I game. My Amazon account is linked to one account. But if I get an Amazon notification on any other banking account, be suspicious. Why is Amazon calling me on this other email or other phone number if you have a landline and a cell phone? Is it a normal mode of communication that I'm going to receive from this company? If not, that's suspicious. Don't click on the link. Open a new browser, type in the URL of the account that you're going to go to. So like I said, the account's been put on hold. They're going to scare you. They want you to click on a link in order to maintain the safety. Do this sooner rather than later. They're trying, sense of urgency. They're trying to get you to do stuff. These are actually legit emails that came through that we caught. Here's another one. This is how you think you're going to get hacked. You know, you see on TV the guy with the hoodie sitting in mom's basement with the lights down low, right? Just tapping at the keys. I'm going to hack, I'm going to get everybody. No, it's social media. That's how you're going to get hacked. You know, do you remember your first teacher's name? Do you remember the first concert you went to? If you could pick only one food to eat for the rest of your life, what would you be? That's basically what's your favorite food. Those are all security questions when you set up your account for banking or anything else. You're out there giving it on social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, X, formerly as Twitter. So just be cautious what you're putting on social media, who you accept as friends within that circle on those sites. Keep your stuff private. Because as an attacker or a hacker, I'm going to look at everything on your social media, find out everything about you, what's your favorite food, what animals, what's your anniversary, what address you lived on, what address you grew up on. That's called, and I'm going to put that all in a table. That's called a rainbow table. And then I'm going to have AI make every possible password based on the criteria that I've put in that I know about you, and then I'm just going to start trying to figure out what your password is. So just be cautious what you put out on social media. Secure use of the internet, try and use HTTPS. So when you're out there browsing, look up at the top, you'll click somewhere, HTTPS, S is secure. So it's end-to-end encryption. Beware of fake websites. We had one come in for the credit union back in November, and they were sending texts out to try and get everybody in Riverside to click on this link to put in their information. They were trying to harvest username and password credentials. But if you have that MFA, you can have my password and username all day, but you don't have that 6-digit code, you're not getting in. Limit your personal info sharing. You know, you don't need to share your information with everybody out on the internet. Your friends already know everything about you. So there's no reason to share it. Keep your browser updated. Because as hackers, they're going to go in and they're going to look for vulnerabilities in outdated software, whether it's Windows, whether it's Chrome or Edge or any of those browsers that you use. You always want to keep that updated. Your routers, you want to update your router firmware as well. You want to keep that updated. Avoid downloading from untrusted websites, so be cautious in your downloads. And then be careful with pop-ups and ads. And then be mindful of online scams. I think Mike's going to go into a few online scams that he's seen through the district attorney's office. Mobile devices. Make sure you guys are using strong passcodes and biometrics, that facial recognition, the thumbprint. Enable device encryption. So even if you do lose that device, it's encrypted. No one can get into it. Keep your OS, your operating system, and your apps updated. So I know a lot of people are saying, oh, I didn't like version 13 of the Apple system, I'm not going to upgrade. Well, they upgrade for a reason, because there's vulnerabilities out there that bad guys can take advantage of. And then also be cautious with app permission. So you download that app, like let's say I'm a big solitaire fan, so I have the app on my phone, right? Well, why does the app need permission to my photos? You know, so just be cautious of what you're willing to accept for app permission on those devices. And if you can, enable remote wipe and find my device. So if you do lose that device, you can remote wipe it. Avoid public Wi-Fi for sensitive transactions. So when you're out there shopping at Target or Walmart and you want to, I want to see how much money I have in my bank account. So I'm going to jump on Walmart's Wi-Fi, log into my bank. Well, that's a public Wi-Fi. You don't know who's on that network. I could be just sitting over in Sporting Goods, seeing who's on there, capturing everybody's packet data. Use 5G when you want to check stuff like that. Anything sensitive, anything PII, don't get on a public Wi-Fi. And then regularly back up your data. The nice thing with Android, you can plug it into a PC and you just copy and drag right across. iPhones is a little bit different. You have to use iCloud to back up, things like that. Set up automatic screen lock. I know everybody hates to, I got to unlock I got to put in the code, I got to take my, look at my face. Automatic screen lock. You set that phone down, someone can come up and swipe it. Now they have, what do you have? You have your online banking app on there, you have all your personal information on there. Lock the phone, have it automatically lock. And then regularly review the privacy settings on your phone. So a little bit more going in now to finance. Do you guys monitor your credit diligently, like Experian, things like that? There's a lot of people that don't. Every time someone goes in to get a loan, they run a credit report. Experian tells me, hey, you've had someone ran your credit. It tells you right off the bat whether someone's doing it or whether, oh yeah, I was looking to buy a car. That's me. Oh no, that's not me. Let me freeze my account. Review your financial account often. How many of you guys look at your bank statements like weekly? Every day. Great. Here, you know what? You want a blanket. Look at that. Every day. That is great. A lot of people don't. You want to see, like, I have alerts set up on my credit card, so if I swipe my credit card, I get an alert, hey, you spent $45 on blah, blah, blah. Same thing with your bank. You want to see, because you have charges come through every day. Make sure you check your bank accounts every day. Most people don't. Use fraud alerts or freeze your credit. That's that Experian that's out there. They do have a free version, but they do have a paid version that you can freeze your account. There's also identity theft protection services out there. Take advantage of those if you can. And like I said, MFA. MFA is a lifesaver. I can't stress that more than enough. Yeah, it's in a couple of my slides. And then, like I said, avoid using public Wi-Fi without a VPN. So your public Wi-Fi at Target, if you have a VPN on your phone, you can connect to the Wi-Fi and connect. Most people, I don't even use a VPN. I just use 5G and I'm fine. But those that are super tech savvy, VPN is easy to put on your phone. NordVPN is one of the ones you see those commercials. That's basically what it is, whether it's your home computer or your mobile device. Who here has at least updated their password to their bank account once a year? There's only a few. At least once a year. Because you'll get complacent. Most companies, we do work accounts every 90 days. CISA, the Federal Cybersecurity, just recently came out once a year. And the reason why they say once a year is because if you're changing your password every 45 days, you're more likely not to have a long, complex password. You're going to have something that you could easily remember. Whereas if you have something that's longer, I don't have to change it once a year, you're more likely to have it longer. And then utilize that password manager. I set mine default 24 characters, complex. It auto-generates, fills it in, saves it to my vault. And then don't click on odd links and text emails and social media sites. You know, try not to click on things. If you see something like an ad or something, what I usually do, I'll open a new tab, I'll go out to that website and I'll manually type it in. I won't click on the link to get there. And then, like I said, be smart about your personal identifiable information. No one should be asking you your address, social security number, things like that. Anybody that matters, that needs that information, 90% already have it. Your financial institution already knows where you live. They already know your bank account number. It's right there on their screen. So be careful when you give out your personal identifiable information. Some of the things to avoid for falling for impersonation: never trust caller ID. I can spoof a phone number instantaneously. If you get a call, oh, the bank is calling me, hang up, call the bank back. Never trust caller ID. Use official numbers. On the back of your cards, it all has the bank phone number on there. Call them. Don't share your PII over the phone. Like I said, MFA. Enable MFA and your online alerts. Beware of pressure tactics. We've seen it a lot. Oh, your power's gonna get turned off. There's another one going around, hey, your son's been kidnapped and he's in Mexico. You guys laugh, I've seen it. So it's called deep fake. So they'll take recordings of an individual, push it through AI, and make it say whatever I want, and it will sound like your grandson or granddaughter that they're in jail. And they need you to send them $5,000 or gift cards. If anybody's asking for gift card for payments, click hang up. No company asks for gift cards. And they're gonna pressure you. And then you can use the call blocking apps. There's different things out there. There's some other stuff out there, I believe, on our website about common scams, you know, the love scam. I was at a conference here last year, and there was this guy in Nigeria who used AI to be a white male in his 60s doing a love scam with a lady, she was, I think, in Arizona. And they showed his face, the AI's face, and the conversations back and forth with her. So be cautious about common scams. That's probably the biggest one, is the romance scams, and then the one I told you, hey, what's that 6-digit code? We've seen that one a lot for account takeovers at the credit union. And then I put this in red. Financial institutions will never ask you for your full account number, full social security number, online banking username and password, or MFA code. They already have your full account number. They might ask you for your, you know, what's the last four, just to verify who you are. They'll have a verification process. But they're not gonna ask you for the full one. So just be cautious when you're giving out personal information. I think this is the last one, fraud warnings. So this is like a red flag. Any of these check boxes is 90% of the time it's fraud. So if you've been contacted by someone you don't personally know requesting you to withdraw money, it's 99% of the time it's fraud. Have you been pressured to keep your withdrawals a secret or lie to the bank staff? We see a lot of scams come in. Don't tell the teller that you're taking out $5,000 and you're going to give it to me. I'm serious. We had a couple members come through the credit union and we were this is a fraud. No, it's legit. This is fraud. Unfortunately, we as an institution, bank, we can't withhold your money from you. It's your money. We try and help them and educate them. That's why we're here. Are you being instructed to send funds via cryptocurrency like Bitcoin or gift cards to a third party? It's fraud. Has the person claimed to be from a government agency, law enforcement, or tech support company demanding payment? Oh, we're from tech support, Microsoft, I'm here to help you. We noticed there's something on your computer. How you know something's on my computer? You don't even have access to my computer, you know? Are you being told you will lose money or face legal consequences if you don't act immediately? Most likely it's fraud. Have you been offered large sums of money or prizes but asked to pay a fee or taxes up front? Fraud. If they want money in order for you to get money, it's fraud. You know, take it out of my winnings. Send me my money. Is the person insisting you stay on the phone with them during your bank transaction? So there's people, hey, stay on the phone with me, go into the teller. Okay, tell the teller this. Okay, yeah. Okay, tell them this. What'd they say? Okay, yeah, tell them this. They're like walking you through what to tell. You know, it's fraud. Is the person, this is a big one, is the person urging you not to tell family or friends or bank staff about the transaction? It's fraud. Don't be afraid to ask your family and friends, hey, I got this call. This guy wants me to send him money. There's no embarrassing question. Ask your friends, ask your family, your kids. Ask for help. Don't be afraid. And is the person claiming you are helping them catch internal fraud perpetrated by a bank employee? It's most likely fraud. So they're calling up, hey, I'm Altura Credit Union. We're running this scam against employees. We want you to do blah, blah, blah. Nah, we don't, banks don't do that. You know, we have an internal department. We have cameras. We can see them, the transactions. We're not going to do like a secret shopper or anything like that. So any of these, like I said, you answer yes to any of these questions, 99.9, I bet my kids on it, it's fraud. Don't do it. Some additional resources. So CISA, Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. You can go to the FBI. So if you think you've been compromised or you've been a victim, you can go to ic3.gov, file a complaint. The other one is the Federal Trade Commission. FTC.gov, you can file a complaint there. I will tell you this, we're small potatoes. It's more likely for statistical purposes. Yeah. But at least they're aware of it, so if there's enough people that report it, then it becomes, you know, something bigger, and they'll definitely investigate it, but at least you have it on file. I was just telling Mike earlier, lady lost $980,000 about 2 years ago through a scam. Now this is totally like I hit the lottery, it most likely will never happen. She got all her money back plus interest 2.5 years later. FBI was able to track it down through cryptocurrency. So I'm not saying it's not impossible, but it's highly unlikely that you're gonna get your money back if you get scammed. So with that, I'll take a few questions. Yes, sir.
I may be a little paranoid, but I just want to get your impression. I paid my real estate taxes recently online, used their website, and I got a pop-up from my bank, Chase, saying that I have authorized Point and Pay to know all my personal information in the banking for all my accounts currently and in the future. And I went to Chase, and not the teller, but just yesterday, and I went to Chase and I showed this notification that I got from Chase, and she said, I've never seen that before. And I asked her, well, should I worry about it? And she says, I can't say where this came from, but it's Chase that gave me the notification when I went ahead and paid my real estate taxes. I know a lot of people do this all the time. It's on their website, but it makes me uncomfortable to give a company like Point and Pay my personal information for perpetuity. How do you feel about that kind of interaction on the internet?
I don't know the ins and outs of personal pay. Just because, I mean, it's weird that Chase doesn't know that they've had that pop up, or the person. I would ask to speak to a supervisor, you know, or their fraud department. I would also look at maybe revoking that permission. You know, because I'm sure if you give it, there's an easy way that you can revoke it. Double check, see if there's alternative methods for payment rather than paying that way.
But the fact that so many people do this, it makes me feel like maybe I shouldn't ask the question. It's okay. Go with the flow.
Don't be afraid to ask why. Why am I getting this pop-up? Why do I have to pay this way? You know, you're the only one that's looking out for you. The bank isn't. the bank has stakeholders. They're worried about making money.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I get a lot of spam calls or potential spam, and I'm on supposedly the do not call list and been on it for years and just redid it again recently. But recently I've been getting video calls from this same company, and sometimes it sounds like the same person, but the phone numbers, of course, are all different. It comes on and it says, "Oh, are you so-and-so," and I never say yes. I say, "What can I help you with?" or something like that. I never identify that that's who they're talking to. And then they'll go into their little spiel about, "Well, haven't you been contacted? Didn't you get this notice about this My Cash Relief?" or it's something like that, where you've won $5,286 exact, and the same amount every time I get a call from these people. I've had at least 3 video calls recently, so I don't know, now they know my face, so, it's kind of strange, and I just say, I'm not interested, thank you. Well, you go to this website, and it's a website, and I kind of looked at the website, and, then it starts asking you for your personal information and stuff, and so I just go out of it. But I just wonder if anyone else has gotten that. I mean, I've gotten regular phone calls for the same thing, and then these video calls.
What I would do is, anybody video calling me that's from a company, I would definitely not answer, because 90% it's a scam. And you're right, they want to get the picture of your face.
Right.
Second, I would probably report them FTC or IC3 on there, because if you're not if it's more than one person, those sites will see a trend and, oh my God, we're starting to get a lot, and okay, this now it's gone from just a couple of events to a problem to now it's an issue, and so they'll most likely assign somebody to investigate it further.
You just went through a list of things that were more likely or not scams, da-dun. Do you have some type of brochure or something you can hand out to us to have that?
I don't, but if you come see me, I can make sure I send that to you after.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chris. Now, I know you all have been wondering what program was I going to tell you about, right? That I came and presented here on. It was the Homeless to Work program. And that was a program that supervisor, when he was mayor of Moreno Valley, he went to a conference, and there was the mayor 7 years ago, or like 10 years ago, of Albuquerque, had started this program, Homeless to Work. In Moreno Valley, now there's a count. Riverside County does a count. Every county does a count of the homeless every year. So it's not politically motivated. It's not trumped up. It's a real honest count of the homeless in the county. And in Moreno Valley, when that program was instituted, it was over a 50% decrease. And it's been very successful here as well. He brought it here to District 5, and it's the Homeless to Work program as well, and it's working really well. So at this time, and I really want to thank Chris. I think we're got a lot of great information, and it's very important information. And I was very lucky to be able to connect with the district attorney's office in Riverside County, and they've always been very supportive. And we're very lucky to have with us today Special Investigator Michael Stallnecker from the Riverside County District Attorney's Office.
Hello. Yeah, it's Michael Stallnecker. Am I echoing here? Yeah, a little bit. I've been with the office for about 3.5 years. I have about 28 years in law enforcement. 25 was with the Los Angeles Police Department. I retired and I came straight over here. When I retired, I was with the Secret Service Cyber Fraud Task Force for a couple of years. That's the last assignment I had. So I've been doing fraud, financial crime stuff for almost coming up on 9 years right now. So I can't say I've seen everything. I've seen a lot. When you think you've seen everything, something else comes up. I usually do a lot of these community outreach, either I don't know, seminars, panel discussions, whatever it may be. And the first time I came out here in Riverside, there's a lady, I can't remember her name. She works for a mortuary, and she talks about death fraud. And I'm like, come on, really? I mean, it's people who lose a loved one, and someone calls up and pretends that they are running a program to get you discounted death certificates to help you out with any kind of benefits for the loved one that you lost. They just need a credit card, and you give the credit card, and next thing you know, they're stealing money from you. So pretty horrible, right? I mean, it's just one thing after the other. You have all these fires that happened this last year, right? And there's a lot of things for pets. We'll help out the dogs. Can you donate for some sort of pet or animal relief? And it's scams. Every time something happens anywhere in the world, there is a scam behind it, unfortunately. People are taking advantage of people's good nature and willfulness to want to help other people, and they're doing it for their own financial benefit. So there's that. So that's good, right? Cyber, like Chris was talking about, there's a lot of online scams. He brought up IC3. 100% correct. It's mostly a data entry kind of thing, but it's coming from the citizens. It's coming from victims of cybercrime. So Riverside County in 2024 was estimated a victim loss of $120 million, just in the county of Riverside. And cybercrime, that's everything. So we're talking data breaches, romance, investment scams, you name it, any kind of online type of fraud that's going on, it's estimated $120 million. So last year we did better. So we did about $240 million reported loss. So about 100% more, right? So great job. We're doing a great job. We're improving, right? But we're really not. So it's self-reported, but the cryptocurrency was estimated about $66 million. So some towards cybercrime, either your cryptocurrency was taken or someone reported that the scam involved some sort of cryptocurrency. And for seniors, for 60 years, is it me? Oh, move it up? Is that better? Okay, I'm not echoing? Okay, I apologize. So for seniors 60 and above, account for about 30% of all cybercrime. So it's a lot. It's a lot that we have to deal with. We have to unfold. Part of it is maybe the generation is not used to the computers and the online. They're unfamiliar with it. They don't know how to utilize it. I don't know what this pop-up means. I still go ahead with it, stuff like that. The fear, the embarrassment as well. So being at the DA's office, what Chris talked about is pretty much what I've talked about in the past. Wow, this is. Oh, am I really? Go back, okay. I feel like I'm like 8 years old again, and my dad's telling me, do this, turn the channel. Okay, is this better? I will not move. I'll stand like this. So, so we are, for the district attorney's office, we're always going to be dealing with something that already happened. So when it comes down to any kind of prevention, it comes down to you as an individual. You're really the responsible one to hopefully prevent this from happening. Who here has been a victim of identity theft? Just me and her. Okay. Oh, okay. There we go. All right. Well, congratulations. You're going to be a victim again. Okay. And all of you who did not raise your hands, probably a good chance you will be. Okay. Because I talked about data breaches. It's probably one of the biggest, most reported. Every major company pretty much has been a victim of a data breach, which you belong to. Kaiser Permanente, Target, Walmart. What's the major data? What is it? It's some national database. It's like 16 million. Yeah. So basically, the national data system that holds every social security number in the United States was compromised. So all your stuff is out there. So you're known, whether you like it or not. Most of the stuff you do, everyone here own a house? Okay, it's public, right? Recorder's office is a public place. It's a public recording. There's no confidentiality when you buy a house or you own property, you record a document. It could be accessible. So no matter what you think, your stuff is out there. It's how you protect yourself and minimize any type of possibility of you becoming a victim. So the password changes, looking at your statements, taking care of yourself, that's all very important. When it does happen, you're going to report it, and you would report it to your local police department. So I work real estate fraud, and then 50%, it's 50% of my responsibility. The other, here we go. The other 50% is major fraud, and then I oversee a cyber fraud working group with local law enforcement and adult protective services. And I trace cryptocurrency. So 125% of my time is at work is that. So, and then I'm married, so, but my wife's happy I'm gone. So, so those are my responsibilities. So the real estate fraud, just real briefly, is some of you said you own a home. We deal with crimes that when the title is changed and there's a fraud involved. So if somebody all of a sudden fills out a grant deed and says, Michael Stallnecker, or, what's your name, ma'am? Michelle. Michelle is conveying ownership to Michael Stallnecker. I filled it out, and then I recorded it, and now I own her property, and I decide, hey, I'm going to refinance it, or I'm going to sell it, or I'm going to do whatever. And if she doesn't know, she won't know until she's getting evicted or whatever the case may be. That is real estate fraud, and that's something we will handle from the ground up. You contact the district attorney's office, and we'll handle it. Now, Riverside County, and I believe Orange County and Los Angeles County, at least nearby, they send out what's called courtesy letters. So anytime there's a change in your title, if you refinance, if you put the title or the title into a trust, any kind of change whatsoever, then what they'll do is they will send out a courtesy letter to notify you, and that is mailed to the address of the previous. So if wherever you live right now, and that's your residency, that courtesy letter would be mailed to your property saying, Michelle transferred property to Michelle's family trust, and it gets mailed to you. You could look at it and go, yep, okay, that's me. Now, if you see that, it gets mailed to you, and it's Michelle's conveyed to Michael Stallnecker's trust, and she has no idea who Michael Stallnecker is, now she would contact our office and file a complaint, and we would handle those investigations from the ground up. Everything else is basically you go to the police department and report that crime. So if you're a victim of a romance scam, if you're a victim of an investment scam, someone steals your money, someone gets a hold of your bank account, whatever the case is, identity theft, you go to the Banning Police Department, and you're going to file your report. They will conduct that investigation, and then once they come and file charges with the district attorney's office, then anything after that, I will step up and I will start helping out with. So that's the difference, just to clarify. Okay, so the courtesy letters, the real estate fraud, that's specifically district attorney's office. Now the good thing is, if you don't remember that, just go to Banning Police Department, because we've gone around and told them too. So they'll know. Okay, so at the end of the day, if you walk out of here and you're like, my God, what was all that? Just go to Banning Police Department if you become a victim of a crime. Now, the cybercrime aspect, we're talking about prevention. There's a lot of things that you guys can do. You guys are in the greatest situation because you're in a community. Everyone gets to know everybody. You have a central place to go. You could create a board. You could communicate with security. That's great. You have to utilize it though, okay? Who here writes checks? Good. There's nothing wrong with it, okay? But washing check, remember washing checks? Do you remember hear that term? People washing checks, they get a hold of a check, and they use like nail polish or something, and they basically start washing out the names, and then they create different numbers, or they add numbers, and they basically commit a whole different fraud, and then they go in and cash a check. That still happens, okay? People still break into mailboxes. Do you guys' mailboxes get broken into in here? No? Okay. But it's still a possibility, right? Okay. But remember, you mail your checks out to somewhere, right? So if you mail your check to, say, like your grandchild, a family relative, a business, those mailboxes could be broken into. And what's on your check? Your bank account, the routing number, your name, and your address. Okay, well, once I get that, I could go to Costco and I could create my own checks with that information, okay? Or I go online, I have software, I could do whatever I want, and I could recreate your checks, and I could commit some sort of fraud until you figure it out. So if you're not paying attention, I can steal as much money as I want. And once that's done, and it gets reported, I've done my job as a con man or a fraudster. So these things are out there, and they are still happening, okay? So don't just think, don't let anybody tell you, don't write checks. Just be mindful of, that this stuff is happening. Because if I came out here, if me or Chris and said, don't do this, I mean, other than the password and stuff like that. But if I said, don't mail out checks, don't go use your credit card, don't do anything, at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you, turn off the lights, you don't leave your house, you don't talk to anybody, right? And you keep all your money underneath your pillow. That's not realistic. We still have to live our lives. So the best thing to do is to know as many of these different type of scams that are out there. Now, he brought up AI. AI is a big thing right now. AI is good at some things, and it's bad on other things. Right? So you have college students that are writing papers with AI, and the big universities, the professors have the software that can detect that this was an AI-generated paper. And then they'll fail your student, you'll fail your child. They have that. Costs a lot of money. Police departments don't have anti-AI identification or discovery software. It costs a lot of money. So, and most people don't have it either. So you have to use your common sense and your experience about how to kind of grasp what you're seeing. So if you get a call, a video, who had the video call that comes in? If you have the video call that comes in, and Harrison Ford is on the other side, and he's saying, hey, how are you? I'm in need of money right now. I just got put in jail, right? Will you help me out? Okay. One is, you may be really good friends with Harrison Ford, okay, but you really have to think, wait a minute, is this even right? Right? Okay. So there's a little bit of somewhat common sense, but however, there's people that get taken advantage of. And that's the really hard part. So be mindful of what's out there, the AI. When you answer your phone, does anybody have like a pause before anybody starts talking? Okay. Who here says hello, 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 hello? Right? Some people do, right? I want it. If I answer the phone and there's no one talking or saying anything, I usually don't respond back because they're getting your voice and they can regenerate and make a conversation. Who here has, I know a lot of banking, investment, usually companies, that has the voice identifier for security. This is so-and-so, this is my voice, and this is my security, okay? I would not use that as a security measure because there are so many different robocalls that come in that who says that AI tool is not gathering your voice, and somehow they do enough work, they find out where your investment company is, and next thing you know, it's, hi, this is so-and-so, and now they're accessing your investment account. So two-factor is what you should go with, like what Chris is saying, right? The Google, the authenticator apps are the best way to probably go and something like that, or an email or a text message, something of that nature. But I would not use your voice because there's so many fraudulent calls. The spoofing thing he was talking about, I had a case several years ago. It was a veteran. He was with the USAA. Anybody here have USAA? Phenomenal bank, and they're great for security. And this is why. He calls me, he files a report, he lost $26,000. He woke up in the morning and he got a call and it said USAA. And he's like, oh. answered the phone at 7 in the morning. He just woke up, and the person on the other line says, there was some unusual activity in your account. We wanted to verify. Now, at first, he's like, oh, okay, it's USAA. I saw it. I didn't think anything of it. He starts going through the motions, and he realizes, wait a minute, there's weird background noise. That doesn't sound right. And then he says, you know what, hold on, let me call you back. I just got up. And by the time he put his phone down, logged into his computer, $26,000 was already taken out of his account. Now, USAA, he contacted them. He told them what happened. USAA took care of it. So now USAA is my victim. So he wasn't out the $26,000, he got it back. That's why I love USAA. And they're very cooperative with police. So is Altura. There's other ones that are a little bit more difficult to deal with. But regardless, that was a spoofing incident. And then we would get other ones where there were the scams of the police department's calling you, requesting some sort of donation. Would you like to donate to the police department? Okay. And people are looking at it, and it's coming up, at the time, LAPD. Or they're saying, your son's in custody right now. We have him on possible manslaughter charges. You need to bail him out. Send me, a green dot card. It's like a green dot card. And people were going out and doing this stuff. And they said, well, it came from the police department. It's like, what? And then they call back the police department, and you get an actual police officer, because they're actually calling the number, and they're like, ma'am, I have no idea what you're talking about. So the spoofing thing is a real thing. You have to be just cautious of it. When you see a phone number, you see something, especially if they start asking you, like Chris said, take time. The biggest theme is fear and urgency. That's what the theme they always use. If you don't do this, this is what's going to happen. There's a Amazon package that's supposed to be sent, you haven't paid for. If you don't pay for it for $1,400, we're going to close down your Amazon account, right? Me, please do. Please, for God's sakes, just close it down, right? But I got that. I actually got that in my email. And I was like, $1,400, right? So who's the first one I'm calling? Yep. Hey, what did you buy for $1,400? And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, and as soon as I realized, wait a minute, that came on my email, my personal email. Our Amazon account is not under my email. The Amazon we have a completely different email. So oh my God, sorry, hon. Oh my God, you're gonna leave me alone. And then she bought a whole bunch of stuff just to make me suffer. But, it's stuff like that. It's people do get upset. Maybe they have a business and they rely on Amazon. And that's going to be something that's going to, oh my God, I need to do this. So that's the urgency, that's the fear. The charges and everything else, like he was talking about, you could set up your credit cards. Great thing, and then just be mindful of, give it to your spouses. I would quiet them late at night, because late at night, like, I'm trying to sleep, and bing, 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 bing. Oh my God, what's my wife buying? But it's a good thing to have, and you can set limits, anything over, $50, $40, whatever the case is. So those are good things for your notification. But the fear and urgency, these scams, and there's tons of them, they're out there. The other thing too is Adult Protective Services. Have you guys heard of Adult Protective Services? Okay. They are a resource. I don't like to say they're like Child Protective Services. Child Protective Services actually can remove children. Adult Protective Services is not going to remove you or the person from their home. They are strictly there for a resource. However, what's great about them that is similar to Child Protective Services is if you have a neighbor, a loved one, anybody, a good friend that you believe is being taken advantage of, you can file a report with Adult Protective Services, and it's confidential. And that's super important. A lot of people don't want to get involved. I don't want to ruin the relationship with Bill or whoever, right? But they'll go out and they can actually respond. I have a case of, not anywhere in here, but I have a case where my victim, who's in the late 80s, is being exploited by somebody. And they called APS. APS got involved, and they oftentimes cross-report with law enforcement. So it came in as a real estate fraud case, but now I'm handling it as an elder abuse case. And the typical signs are isolation. Usually a bad person will come in and want to isolate that individual from the rest of their friends and family. So it's going to be, and it's hard if you have kids that are out of state that aren't around as much, right? They start talking to them and they create a rapport, they become good friends, take them out to dinner, maybe take you out, I don't know, if you know, a hair salon or to the barber, something of that nature, and just builds that friendship. And as that friendship grows, then it's like, you know, maybe there's a complaint about your child, because we all have some kind of complaint about our children, right? So you say, oh yeah, it sounds like your daughter or your son is, you know, taking advantage of you. And then you start getting in your head. And the next thing you're like, yeah, I'm getting tired, but oh yeah, you know what? I could help you, you know, because kids will take advantage and steal all your stuff. And next thing you know, it just snowballs into something where now they control and they become the power of attorney. They start signing over. It becomes a big deal. And then that's the financial exploitation, okay? So, but when it comes to certain type of professionals, law enforcement is one, firefighters, teachers, banking personnel are mandated reporters. So if we see something, so if you get walked into your local bank, an Altura credit union, you go up and somebody's with you, or you're on the phone and someone's guiding you to take out money and it's not normal, then if that Altura credit union or that law enforcement officer or whoever may be sees or deems that this is possible elder abuse or mandated by law, there's actually a penal code to actually file an Adult Protective Services report. Now, like Chris said, they can't stop you from taking the money out. They could only say, hey, you know, are you okay? You know, whatever the case may be. But they will still, they may even call 911, have police respond, and or they will make a notification to Adult Protective Services. And I've seen both. I've had an individual, he was in his 90s, who walked into his credit union probably 5 days in a row and was pulling out $30,000, $40,000 out of his account. And this is someone who typically would come in maybe every 3 months and pull out maybe $1,000 and would just have normal banking activity. So they recognize that, they see the activity, and obviously it becomes suspicious. Now, who knows? Maybe the person fell in love, or maybe he just wants to empty out and live his best life, whatever time left he or she has. We don't know, but if it's suspicious, we at least have to call. APS would go out, and then they would provide resources. Can we help you, and so on and so forth. So if you call APS on somebody, don't think in any way that they're going to be like, oh, you're coming with me. By no means they're going to do that, okay? They're just going to offer the resources. And then most likely, either just before or shortly after, you might see law enforcement come out. And we're going to be the same way. It's going to be, hey, what's going on here? And if somebody doesn't want to be helped, there's not much we're going to be able to do. That's where the difference is with a child, okay? We also have victim services, but remember, if you're a victim of a financial crime, it's not something that you can utilize where you're going to get your money back. Okay, a lot of people think that. Well, I was scammed out of $100,000, I'm going into victim services. We're not going to give you $100,000 back. However, they are going to give you some resources, and they're going to try and help you along. If there's a court proceeding, stuff like that, we will walk you through it. So they have the resources too. They're basically like the social workers of the DA's office. So those are the different resources we have. Wow, scams. So I had one similar, Chris was talking about it, where there was a gentleman that was portraying, most likely a gentleman, we don't know, I never figured out who the suspect was, but it started out as a business email compromise, and basically this individual, he was a male, he was probably late 60s, Sharp as a tack, he was still in business. He was trying to purchase some investment property. He gets working with a title company. He gets contacted through email. They're communicating, gets the email, hurry up, we found a property, $150,000. You got to send it quick, though, otherwise we're going to lose the property. So he does. He gets the wiring instructions and sends the money out. Money leaves and goes into a female's account that's out in Texas, and she's in her early 70s, and she gets that 170 or 50, whatever it was, plus another $400,000 or $500,000 from other accounts, and then she turns around and puts into Bitcoin. And so I reach out and I locate her. And she lived out in Katy, Texas. I don't know, I can't remember where Katie's at, but she's out in Texas. I reach out to her, I talk to her over the phone, and she's in love with this guy, her boyfriend, that she's never met in person. Now I can't remember the guy's name. We'll just call him, say Harry. Harry is a orthopedic surgeon who works for the UN. He has a 14-year-old son, and he's living in South Africa. And however, he's having some trouble getting in a bank account. And he needs help, so he says, can you help me out with my business and open up a bank account in your name? She's like, sure, I love you. So he actually sent photos of himself holding up a sign, says, I love you, whatever her name, I can't remember her name, and she thinks it's him. She's getting text messages. So she's like, okay. So she does what he asked, and one of the banks says, hey, this is fraud, and they basically close out her account and say, you can't bank with us anymore. She goes to another bank, opens up another one, and they're saying this is fraud. She keeps doing it over and over and over again, still believing that this is a real person. I put his face into Google Imager, and he came up with about probably 150 different profiles. So it's just some guy, I don't even know who it is, but somebody was using that photo and just committing fraud just worldwide. So these are the things, I mean, and it's, if you think about it, this lady, she lived alone, she was isolated, and somebody was spending time with her. So it's just one of those things, and she didn't report it, and the bank, 2 banks had shut her down. And I don't know if you guys know, banks talk to each other. And after a certain point, if they keep shutting you down for fraud, they're going to believe you're involved in fraud, and they're not going to allow you to open up another bank account. And you can imagine the problems that's going to cause when she's just trying to do her normal bills and take care of herself financially. So that's one big one. I wasn't able to get the money back. It went into the Bitcoin thing. Cryptocurrency. Does anybody invest in cryptocurrency? No? Okay. Don't start now. So just let you know. Bitcoin ATMs. Have you guys seen Bitcoin ATM machines? Yes. Okay, they're everywhere. The last time I checked was a while ago. There was 1,800 in the county. They are everywhere. They're in your gas stations. They're in your grocery stores. They're everywhere. There's nothing we could do about them. We can't get rid of them. They're regulated supposedly by the state. It allows people to walk in with cash and purchase cryptocurrency, but we're seeing in law enforcement eyes, it's a money laundering scheme. That's all it is. So we get a lot of seniors that some scam happens, an investment scam, a romance scam, and the person goes, great, they get them on the phone, and they say, go to your bank and withdraw money. So you go to your bank, you withdraw $20,000. And then they'll stay on the phone with you, because that's what a good customer service person does. And they walk you to the nearby crypto machine, which could be, who knows, a block, 2 blocks, a mile away, and then they'll have you deposit money in there. And what you do is you get a receipt, like a normal transaction, and then you'll read that transaction number to that individual to prove, or you'll take photographs and send it back to the person that they're communicating with on the cell phone. And then that money goes through crypto, and it's a whole different class, but the money's going to be gone to a certain degree that's going to be difficult to get back. It's not impossible, like Chris said. There was somebody that law enforcement was able to get money back, but it's all about timing and the law enforcement agency having the right equipment to be able to do what they need to do. So just things to keep in mind when you get a scam. If somebody calls you, just be mindful, listen to their voice, listen to what they're saying, listen to what they're asking for. And don't fall for, if you don't do this, this is gonna happen. Remember, you have a right to this hang up. Now, who has an iPhone? You do? Okay. Have you guys been able to turn off or silence unknown callers? If you haven't, there's a way to do it. It saved me a bunch. So, every time I come out and talk to people, I like to give good information. Valuable. So usually you go to settings on your iPhone. Android, I don't know. I'm sorry. If you don't have Android, not that I have anything against you, but I'm not sure. But if you open up settings and you scroll all the way down to the very bottom, you go to apps. And once you get to apps, you're going to scroll down, and it's alphabetical. You're going to find phones. And then you have audio call recording. You have all that. If you go to, incoming calls, you could silence them. If you click on the silence, then what will happen? It will either get silenced or it'll go straight to voicemail. So I have a county phone and my personal phone. So the second I did, I used to get a lot of stuff on my personal phone. And the second I did it, I don't get as many. My county phone, oh yeah, they want to help me out with my taxes. My DMV is expired. They're giving me job offers. It's great. They want me to click on links. But my personal phone, once I did that with my personal phone, my Apple, it's quieted down a lot. So that's something you want to do. It might help you out too, the lady that has the FaceTime calls, it might help as well. But remember, it's for unknown callers. So your favorites, whoever you have set as your favorites, will come through automatically. If not, so if you have like a doctor, sometimes some of the doctors that call from different unknown numbers, that's something you just have to keep in mind. So I have the VA, so I had a phone appointment like a week or two ago, and I knew it was going to happen. I turned it off to allow that call to come through, and then I reactivated it. So yes, yeah. So if it's a legitimate call, they will leave a voicemail. If it's not, if it's scam, they're just going to move on. Just remember one thing, and this is the last thing. If you are targeted, if you become a victim of fraud, it's not necessarily they're targeting you. Don't feel as though it's like, oh my God, they're just coming after me. Those emails, it's an email blast. It's being sent out to thousands and thousands of people. They just need one person to hit and one person to click it, right? So you see the signs. If you don't click it, right, you get a ticket. Okay, well, if you click it, you're gonna lose all your money, all right? So just make sure, when you're clicking something, it's your seatbelt. Everything else, don't click on the stuff that you're aware of. Does anybody have any questions?
How prolific is it now with the credit card scanners? Like people can just walk by you and scan your purse or your pocket if you have credit cards, and they can get your number and then use it. And
I don't know how common that is. It does happen. I don't think there's really any numbers. I haven't seen any kind of statistics on that. But yeah, it's something that you have to be cautious about. You got to keep your...
It happened to me in a casino one year, a couple of 3 years ago. Since then, I've gotten the magnetic wallet that keeps them from a ability to scan the cards.
And those are usually the best thing. Yeah, it probably depends on the environment you're in. So yeah, casinos are probably, it's a scammer's heaven in there. Also, when you go on vacation, think about where you're going and then kind of look at the travel reports to see. I know, like, we're going to Europe this year, and there's a lot of pickpocketing. So, I got zipper pockets, all that stuff. Who else had a question? Yes, ma'am.
Yes. You mentioned the voice recognition.
Yes.
We all use our voice messaging systems. Can they pick up your voice recognition that way?
Well, if they can, yeah. You just have to keep in mind, though, that, when someone's calling you, you just have to be mindful. Like I said, there's no perfect way. You're never going to completely prevent yourself from being a victim of fraud. But if you don't have your security measures set for your voice, then, if you answer or something, you don't have to worry about it. That was more in place of if you call your bank and they want you to use your voice as a security measure, that's something to keep away from. So
But an
just be
unknown
mindful.
caller hears your voice message. Can they use that?
Well, yeah, but typically you'll only be the only one that has access to it. Yeah. Thank you, Carol. Someone else? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I think there's a possible scam here. I keep getting a phone call from a gentleman consistently working for the Police Officers Association.
Oh, yeah.
And always
Same
looking-
voice, right? Different
Yes,
number?
same voice. Same.
Yeah, yeah,
But
I don't
no,
give.
Not the same
I
number,
give every
though.
day. Okay.
Not the same number. So
Right.
these scammers, their numbers rotate to where?
They can, it's from, oh my God, it's, and I belong to the organization too, but I don't give. Fraternal Order of Police. Yeah. Yeah, you know what, I wouldn't, yeah, I would hang up right away. But yeah, it's the same guy, really deep voice. Yeah, like you should have a radio show. Yeah, but it's a different number.
No, not real deep, but I
Oh, okay.
recognize every time I answer,
Yeah.
and as soon as I do, I mean, I fell for it, and I did, but the thing is anybody who calls me for donations, I tell them I do not give any information over the phone, and they have to send me a invoice for my donation. So I
Okay.
do get an invoice, and it looks legit, everything looks legit. Now, since I came today, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go back home and pull up those checks that I wrote to see if they were
Right.
endorsed correctly. But he keeps calling, it's the same guy, every day.
Right, and typically that's what's gonna happen, even if you're a victim of identity theft, they're gonna keep coming back to you. Or your information's gonna be sold to another identity theft person.
Okay.
So
And-
just be mindful of it, I would be cautious, I would do your own research, I'm not gonna say don't give money, because if it's a legitimate,
Yeah.
charity or something like that, I'm not gonna say
Yeah.
don't give it to anybody, but you really have to do your own homework, you have to vet that information.
Yes.
Because it just takes one, and honestly, if you're gonna be doing donations over the phone, credit card, I would probably have a credit card designated that maybe it's a low balance or low limit, that's separate from anything else, any kind of banking, so that way, if that one is compromised, it's a lower limit.
I
You're not
never-
using your main one,
Yeah,
so.
I never do
that would be my
credit card.
suggestion.
I write a check. but,
Okay, all right.
But then the last question is, does the county of Riverside have any, gosh, I wish there was companies that are known of scammer numbers where you can call a number to find out? I have tried to unblock numbers. I've tried to do everything just to get them to quit calling me.
Yeah, there's nothing that we have that we track different, because it's insane of how much scams and all these phone numbers, I mean, there's internet phone numbers, it's too impossible to do. So that's why it's really incumbent upon each of all of us to really be responsible for our own stuff. And remember, you don't have to answer every phone call. Just, if it rings, if you don't recognize the number, let it go to voicemail. I mean, if you're expecting an important phone call, I get it. But if you're not, you don't have to, every time the phone rings, you don't have to talk or attempt to talk to that other person, okay? And then if you do recognize it, you should know the voice. So just keep that in mind too, okay?
Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and close our program because we're a little over our time limit. So, but I want to thank Michael and Chris and David for being here. And I just wanted to let you know that next month, March 3rd, we're going to have Dr. Baines from Loma Linda. He's going to do a program on wellness and healthy aging. So did you have any other closing comments you wanted to make?
Just one last thing. With these scams, be cautious with Zelle. Zelle is for family and friends, people you know. Because as soon as that money you Zelle to somebody, there's no way to get that money back. Venmo, you can dispute it a little bit, but once Zelle is gone, it's gone. So when you're buying stuff in, Facebook Marketplace, things like that, oh, sell it to me, well, that money's gone. So unless you know them or you're in person and okay, I'm buying this, okay, let me sell it to you real quick and you can take it, be very cautious with Zelle.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for the program. I want to thank everybody for coming today, and again, our next program will be March 3rd. Thank you.